This video is brought to you by 𝗏𝗏. Being a musician isn't just about playing music anymore. For example, if you want to get gigs, then venues will not only ask you how well do you play, they're also probably going to ask how big your social media following is. And if you need followers, guess what? You're now a content creator. You probably already have a great camera in your phone. But what about audio? Because people will forgive bad visuals, but bad sound? That'll have them leaving faster than a singer after a gig when it's time to pack up. So let's see if this helps. The Sennheiser Profile Wireless Kit, which promises to deliver studio quality audio without the hassle. But first, to prove how important good audio is, let's do a quick test. This is the audio on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And this is the audio on the Sennheiser Profile Wireless. Did you hear the difference? And are you still here? Good. Now, I've been using this for the past few months, testing it at places like NAMM and guitar auctions at Gardner Holgate on location to see how well it does at capturing my voice. But as this is a guitar channel, I'm not just going to show you how to capture voice with this. I'm also going to show you how to capture recordings from acoustic guitars, amplifiers, and even a whole band. But let's first go over what exactly this is, because it does, I'll admit, look a lot like a Bluetooth speaker rather than a microphone system. But the mics are in here, as is the receiver just there. The mics you can pop out by pressing that button for that one and that button for that one. And because you've got two, it means you can record either one source in stereo or two sources in mono, such as two people talking. They do record to themselves by pressing this little button there, or it turns out I already did press it. So that's now recording, and I can talk into it like this, so you can actually hear what's going on through this mic right now, as if it was placed on my shirt somewhere. But whilst you're recording or not, you can also send that signal to the receiver, which you get out by pressing this. And then this has got lots of menu stuff on it, which you get by swiping the screen. There's more secrets to be had in this bar. In there, open that up, and you get the connectors, which is a USB-C connector, a lightning connector, and a shoe connector for your camera. And earlier on, I plugged this into my phone like this. You plug the L connector in there like that, then you plug that into the phone and record a video. You can also connect this directly to your computer, or if you want, to your DSLR or whatever camera you have. For that, you need the other connector, which is just a simple piece of plastic with a screw in it. That goes in there like that. That goes either on top of the camera or some sort of holder. And then you need to look in the box again, because unfortunately the cable you need is not in this, but it is in this little pouchy carry case. Open that up. There's the 3.5mm to 3.5mm connector, one end of which goes in to the out of this, and the other end goes into the in of your camera. There's also headphones there for monitoring. And while we're at it, you get this little foamy thing that you can actually keep the mics in this carry case and use it as a handheld mic for doing interviews or holding it near someone's sound source. Also in the case is the USB-C to USB-C data and charging cable, and you get two little muffs as well. And those little muffs, if you find the little bit there, that will clip into the end of the mic and make it more wind-proof. This is good news for people like me, because I've lost a few muffs in my time. And one of my favorite features of this mic is the screw thread, allowing you to securely attach external mics. And that alone was part of my decision to take this and use this in all my NAMM videos. If you want to clip this on with a magnet, there is your magnet there. They sit in the case, and then you can then put that under your shirt or something, or then clip that on somewhere, or screw it in to some camera holder device. Finally, the device is charged by being put back in here. Power it off, and you're ready to transport it in the carry case. So that's what you get, but how does it help you as a musician and or content creator? Well, Now we get onto the fun stuff, where I can actually show you some more in-depth demos of how I have used this and how I would use this in the future. So first up, let's have a listen to what this sounds like when there are two people speaking. I'm going to show you a pre-recorded clip now from my trip to Laney, where I interviewed James Laney. You also said it's about the place that you grew up.
Yeah. Well, not that I grew up, but certainly my dad and Tony grew up, you know. And at the beginning of the video, you said, we're in Birmingham. We're actually in the Black Country, and this is a point of detail that is very important to people from the Black Country and nobody else.
So that was a perfect situation for these mics because there was no other sound in the room except for the voices coming from me and James. I took this to NAMM with me, and that is anything but quiet. So I took advantage of the screw-in microphone input, and I added a microphone from Mogan. In here is a sort of Britney Spears or Madonna, depending on how old you are, microphone that clips on your ear like this, and then that sits there all day long for you whilst you plug the other end into the mic and sender like that. So I just wear that on my ear like this and look super cool. And then, in fact, we can switch to this mic now because it is recording. This is what it sounds like. And I just pop that in my back pocket like that. Cable hidden behind the shirt, and I was like this for pretty much the entire NAMM experience. So any video you've seen at NAMM with me talking is me using this exact system. And just to show you what it sounds like, let's have a little clip from NAMM now. So if you were recording, you might want to use this.
Yeah, you know, with the sort of amount of options that this thing's got, you know.
Is that a rotary? Oh my God.
It certainly is.
So hang on, let me do this bit.
Yeah, go on.
The beauty for me of using one of these at NAMM was that I didn't have to use a handheld mic, meaning my hands were always free to play guitar. And then add that into the mix, and you're getting the sound source closer to the microphone, giving you, hopefully, better audio. I know from experience that the audio I got at NAMM this year is some of the best audio I've ever had. So if you need to record your voice or somebody else's voice in your social media content or whatever, these are pretty darn good at doing it. But there's far more fun to be had in this mic than just by talking into it. Let's go over how I use this to record acoustic guitar. So for this, I'm going to go between my phone, which is just here, and the mic, which is on my leg just there. So we'll switch between these two audio sources. Now, that's just by putting that on my knee, but if you actually put it on a mic stand or something, you could get some fantastically creative results with that. You could also even use, the magnet to maybe put the magnet inside the acoustic and then put the mic on it like that. Yeah, I'm not sure how strong that magnet is, but you could get even more creative using different mic placements where you couldn't normally get some sort of recording mic. You could even clip it to your tuner so that you've got something to talk into there. I wonder what that would sound like. I'm not going to find out. I'll leave you to be creative because I want to move on to the next part, which is recording electric guitar using the Sennheiser Profile Wireless. So for this one, I've got my Ibanez AZN, and I'm going to run it through the Fender Deluxe Reverb with a bit of delay beforehand. And this is going to be something fairly jazzy and soft. I'm going to place the mic just by pressing record first. I'm going to place it just in front of me, so you can't see it, but it's going to be just there, pointing at that orange cab down there, which I would say is about 1 meter away, pointing directly at the cab. And now this is what it sounds like coming out of the cab into the Sennheiser. I've just listened to that back, and I am shocked at how good it sounds. It really is just stuck on my desk down there pointing at the cab, and it sounded pretty phenomenal. There is another way to use this that I think is far more fun, but I'm shocked at how good that just sounded. You can also plug a dynamic mic into it. So a dynamic mic is something like this, the Lewitt MTP440 DM, but you can also use an SM57, something like that, something that doesn't need power. And then you need to get yourself one of these cables, because this is XLR to a mini jack. So you plug that into the mic, then you plug the other end in there, and then you just plug that, or sorry, place that in a holder near the cab. And I've tested this already, and I know it sounds great, but let's hear it in the video. That's the setup. So mic on the speaker in the cab, and then the cable going into the Sennheiser, with the Sennheiser clipped on the mic stand. In fact, let's just also try that with some drive to see what that sounds like. So I'll put a drive pedal in the mix. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know if the signal's clipping or not? Well, I can use the receiver to check the levels. So there's the receiver, and when I play, you'll be able to hear it. You can also change a bunch of settings on this by going into the menu, and I went for gain, and then I actually reduced the gain by 3 decibels. So you can increase that gain if you need to record something quiet, or you can drop that gain down if you need to record something that's super loud, such as a very loud electric guitar. The usefulness doesn't stop there, however, because you can also use it to record the headphone out of some kind of multi-effects. Or if your amp has some kind of headphone out on it, you can record from that amp into one of the Sennheiser mics and then monitor it through the receiver, which might sound complicated, but it isn't. And I'll show you how to cable that up right now. So regardless of what guitar effect you're using, just go out of the headphones with this cable, the other end in to the microphone like that, and then I'm going to clip that together. I'm already recording, and plug that into the guitar like so. The receiver is receiving a signal, and then I plug that into the headphone out of the receiver. So if I pop the headphones on, I can now monitor what I'm playing and record directly to my phone using the Boss Katana Go and this Sennheiser mic. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm not sure that Sennheiser would expect someone to use it in this way, but you can. And as a guitar player, nerdy, geeky guy, I want to push things to places they haven't been before and use things for things they haven't been designed for. And this works wonderfully and would definitely, I mean, if I went to another show and I just wanted to record guitar, I could just take my phone and the receiver and well, the whole Sennheiser mic thing, and I'd be done. That's all I'd need. One for talking, one for guitar, bish bash bosh. But on that, let's talk about how I would use this to record a whole band. Now, the obvious thing is to put that somewhere in the room where it doesn't distort and try and get the band recorded, or in fact use 2 for a stereo image. Or take a line out of your mixer from the headphone socket, just like I did with the Katana Go, and record direct to that. So you could have one in the room recording the in-the-room sound and one mono coming out of your mixer. It's a little bit GarageBand, but it would certainly work if your mixer doesn't have any sort of recording device built in. And I think it's a fun way to use this mic. So let me put this down and get on with the review. Now, you don't see these mics in my videos in the studio because I use a Sennheiser shotgun mic, which is just there above my head. However, for the remainder of this video, it would make sense to use this mic. So the audio is going to change now. Right, let's go through the pros, cons, and the nice-to-haves should Sennheiser ever make a version 2. Firstly, the audio quality. Now, to my ears, I love Sennheiser mics and the sound they reproduce. This is a better sound to me than anything from DJI or Rode. Also, Sennheiser get massive points for having this being so compact, sleek, and portable with inbuilt recharging. That is absolutely wonderful for someone like me. The onboard recording is a necessity. Also, 16 gigabytes of space, so that's plenty for recording mono wave audio. Plus the fact that everything is here and you can connect to phones and cameras and all sorts of things with pretty much everything in there apart from this cable, which is a downside, I guess, but you can't think of everything. One feature I haven't mentioned so far is that if you are recording using the transmitter and receiver, should anything happen to the receiver and it loses contact, it will automatically start recording to the mic inside if you haven't recorded already. But although I like that feature, I would just always record to the internal mic anyway, because why not? It comes with clips, it comes with magnets, and I love that this has this little screw-on thing here for the profile bar if you want to add that to some sort of mic stand or camera stand. And a big pro is that it is competitively priced, and you can find that price at my link to 𝗬𝗪𝗪 in the video description, because 𝗬𝗪𝗪 are the sponsors of this video. They sent me this mic system, and they were very patient in waiting for this video because I said I needed to take it to NAMM, I needed to test it fully before I give my final verdict. So it is a great system, but it isn't perfect. Here are the cons. Number one is there is no onboard noise cancellation. So if that's important to you, you don't get it with this mic. Things like the DJI Mic 2 have it on board. This one doesn't. Also, there's no Bluetooth to phone, so you do have to connect this receiver to your phone in order to get that sound to your mobile. This is not 32-bit float recording, which, if you don't know what that means, it means you can't clip it. This is very good audio quality, and you can adjust the gain to most settings, but it would have been nice to have 32-bit float point. One tiny little thing is that you can lose the magnets, because I use a metal desk, and if you put that down on the desk, it will stay on the desk as you take it away, which is not really a problem, but it would have been nice to have a bit of a stronger magnet to hear that. Well, anyway, stronger magnets would be nice always. Some people have complained that this is plastic. I have zero issue with that. I've thrown it in my case, taken it around the world, and there are barely any scratches on it. But my biggest gripe is because I have big sausage fingers, using the menus can be a little bit problematic. You just have to be kind of patient, but I wish that worked in a different way. So the nice to have for a version 2 of this, I guess, would be all the things that I pointed out are negative about this. If we see a version 2, let's please have noise cancellation, let's have Bluetooth connectivity, let's have 32-bit float recording, let's maybe have a metal case, although I have no problem with this, but I would like a companion app for my phone so I can monitor with that. So yes, it's not perfect, but the truth is I've been using this for about 12 weeks now, and I've had nothing but fun. I've been able to throw it in my case and know exactly what I've got, connect it to anything I want, create content that is using a regular camera like the one you're seeing right now, or with my phone, and it's so small and compact, and for the 300 euros that it costs, you're getting Sennheiser audio quality. I love this little thing. And there's something to be said for pressing these buttons and having that pop out like that. It's just very, very satisfying, which I know is kind of ridiculous, but I like things like that. So let me know what you think of this in the comments section, and I hope some of the guitar uses of this is actually useful to you. It's not a gimmick. I will be doing that. So Boss Katana Go into this, into my phone. You're gonna see some of that stuff on my vertical videos very soon. I can't believe I haven't thought of it sooner. Links to 𝗬𝗪𝗪 to buy this in the video description, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.